And that is the theme music going again for another episode. Did you actually ever hear that Seinfeld, I don't know if you watch Seinfeld, it has, in the first 7 seasons, they do like an intro thing where Jerry talks to everyone. He does like a stand-up comedian thing. But because of that, the timing of the intro has to be different every time. So the music has to be at a different pacing every time. So that's going to be Jamie's job now, is to figure out a different pacing as I'm talking around the intro.
What the absolute fuck is that? What do you think I am? Some kind of sound engineer?
You are an engineer.
I am an engineer in chemicals.
He doesn't even do that.
I don't even do that anymore.
So we've got a real Heisenberg. We can engineer some good stuff.
That's what my brother used to always say. Remember Breaking Bad was that big show there for years and years.
It sounded like
every time.
Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Mary Berry changes her life.
This Victoria sponge is right up there. It's as good as meth.
Yolks and scones, boy. But yeah, everyone used to always ask me this. They're like, "Oh, can you make Coke?" It's like, I don't know, probably.
Coca-Cola, yeah.
If you give me the raw ingredients. Oh, we wandered down a dark path for the intro to the show.
Fast, yeah.
Welcome to the show, guys. Another episode of the Irish Fantasy Punch. Shane, Jamie, and Dan here today. So we're going to go through a couple of bets the lads have been doing. We're going to do the sleeper picks for us this year. And then we're going to run into a few trades we've been seeing in leagues because we talked about maybe talking about the news, but we decided we don't care about preseason news. It's not interesting. Anyone anything to add there?
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck the news.
preseason sucks, and it only gets good left tackles injured.
Shane isn't happy about the two. What are they? Chris's for Dallas? Is that their names? Connors.
Yeah, Connors. Yeah, fucking left guard, useless bastards. Poor Tyron Smith now out. We're going to have to probably kick one of them out to left tackle. That's just horrifying.
See, I don't have much
It is so
excitement
much.
for the preseason
Actually,
because we don't have rookies.
I think Connor Williams is gone. I actually don't even think he's on the roster anymore. So it's just one we have to get rid of, but he won't be. He'll still be playing. Watch, he'll still be playing. It's so depressing. Oh.
Dubes is making some nice moves in preseason for Green Bay. Jamie, you pumped for Dubes?
I wasn't, but apparently I should be. You know, apparently Rodgers is taking him under his wing altogether. Apparently he is. He likes him. He likes him. You know, and I don't know. I can't imagine. Like Aaron Rodgers is a bit of a weird guy. You know, like.
Oh, you think?
Like I can imagine him taking you under wing is just an experience. You know, I don't know. I just think it'd be weird.
Do you know why he's doing it?
Why you go on?
Do you know why he's doing it? Because this Dubes, his first name is definitely Scooby Dubes, and he's Shaggy Rogers these days. That big beard, the shaggy hair. That's all he's seen. Rogers is going for the memes right now. That's why he's going for the memes. Whatever way you want to say it, I don't care. That's what it is. It's going to be Shaggy Rogers and Scooby Dubes score TD.
We need cricket.
I don't think that's as funny as you think it was.
Yeah.
I love it. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be a thing.
I wonder where you were going with that one.
God bless you for going for it. Like,
Yeah, you went
trying
for
to
it.
make
It's
it
going to
work.
be a thing. It'll be a
It's
thing.
going to be a whole season of this now.
When you start seeing the fucking gifts and all that popping up, you're going to be like, wow, he called it. It's going to be the only call I get right all season from this podcast. But it
just
will
you
be right.
making them. You sharing the meat.
Do you really think I have the technological capabilities to do that? I don't even understand how to make one of them. And it's probably really simple. And I just don't know because I don't care about making them.
So Microsoft Paint or something like that. You know?
There's a Microsoft Paint.
What do you mean there's a Microsoft Paint? Of course there's a Microsoft Paint.
Growing up, I never had computers. Nothing like no computers, no laptops, no nothing. I didn't get a phone till I was like 13 or 12. I was poor, man.
This is the electrician talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can wire it, right? I can do that much.
I found electricity
Didn't say I
when I
could
was
use
14.
it. Yeah.
All right, let's kick into your bets then. So the two boys have picked the winners of each division. I didn't do it because yeah, I'm not
He likes
gambling.
money.
Yeah, I actually
I
won
like
on
the
a horse for the
idea of
weekend.
money.
Proceeded to lose it all then afterwards. But anyway, so we're gonna start with Shane's picks. So for the AFC East,
Yeah, we could shoot across, go from me to Jamie with him, but
let's
most of them
call
are
a
kind of
spade a
similar.
spade. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all the same, really. So
So AFC East, I went with the obvious one here, the Buffalo Bills. They're not going to be beaten. They're going to top the division. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. We all know it. I think Jamie, think you went the same way, did you? Yeah,
100%. Probably going to win the Super Bowl. To be fair,
no, they're not. I'll call it now. They're not going to win it.
That's another episode, guys. Spoilers.
I have the whole field. I can easily say they won't win it. Like I have 31 other teams. The odds are in my favor.
That's because that's how betting works. Fucking idiot. All right, the AFC North, Jamie. I went for the Cincinnati Bengals.
the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. The Bengals aren't going to compete there either.
Oh, yeah, and I found this really strange because they're not the favorites in that division. They were 17-10 with the bookmakers that we went with. We're not sponsored by anyone. We're not giving anyone the sponsor. We're not giving them any shout outs.
Unless they give us free bets.
Yeah, free bets.
We'll take free bets.
But yeah, Bengals,
Yeah, I found that
Burrow,
odd.
Jamar Chase. I don't see that being beat. Dan, do you want to put into us there
Who are the
for?
favorites and the Ravens, obviously.
The Ravens were the
Yeah,
favorites.
yeah.
Which I found quite odd. Really
I
was.
suppose it's hard to like there is always the Super Bowl, hangover the next year, but I would have thought the Bengals would be the favorite. But I suppose the Ravens could bounce back and be something if they get Dobbins going. And they don't have Hollywood anymore, though. Maybe Bateman steps up. I don't know. I would have thought Bengals.
Yeah, I suppose you got to think as well. Bengals took everyone by storm last year. No one really saw them coming. Everyone knows what they are about now. So
that was a
Still
bit
no
of a horrible
excuse.
division last year, wasn't it? They all
Yeah.
kind of stumbled and just couldn't beat each other.
Yeah, but like realistically, the Steelers, they're not going to be coming back anytime soon. Are they? The Browns are without Deshaun Watson. They're
are
more
shit.
than likely going to lose Kareem Hunt as well. So like you're not looking at either of the two of them at the minute. And like, what is Lamar just going to run the boys to a Super Bowl? I don't think he's got it. He's not got it in him. Like
That is within the realms of possibility, though.
He's going to single-handedly win the Super Bowl.
He's got nobody to go down the field for him. Without someone to go down the field, he's not going to be able to. He's just not going to be able to do it. It's not a one-man thing anymore. You can't just one-man show your way to the Super Bowl. You need a team around you.
I would love now of like the opening play of the Ravens season, like Lamar Jackson rips off like a 95-yard run.
All right, yeah, that
Anyway,
would
move on to the next
be
one.
funny.
He's ran in 4 touchdowns in his first half.
This
Move on
one
to the next
is
one.
yeah, this one is where we differ. One of our few different picks. AFC South, I went with the Titans. I think Henry wins comeback player of the year, dominates the run game, finishes RB1 for the season, and the Titans go strength to strength with Tannehill throwing it to Burks. I think it's Titans again this year.
Yeah, I went Colts just to throw a spanner in the works. I think like with the Colts are with Taylor and Pittman and like solid team. They looked like they were coming good in the last year. Probably went a bit too late in their run. It's going between the Colts and the Titans. Like it's a 2-horse race. I think, to be honest, I was going to pick the Titans. So it's toss up. It's one or the other. And Shane has a look, so it probably will be the Titans, to be honest.
No, look, I really like Matty Ice with the Colts. I really like Pittman. I really like Taylor. The defense is fairly solid. If I'm honest, it was my favoritism towards the Titans. I think Vrabel has a good system going there. They're so hard to beat the whole time. I just think the Titans they'll go again.
Yeah.
Shane,
Got scared there, Shane, did you? He obviously
Mozzie's
agrees.
on for the Colts.
He doesn't usually bark.
He's
What the
sick
fuck
of
is
your
that?
ideas.
We have a dog.
This is the punt dog.
Dog looks like he's been punted into the face, man. He's a flat-nosed British bulldog.
Next division.
AFC West, I went Chargers against the Chiefs. I think the Chargers are going to be just a force to be reckoned with this year. I think Herbert hits his stride. Two really good wide receivers there. Eckler showed up big time last year. I think he'll be good again this year. I don't think he'll be as good as last year. Defense is solid. Joey Bosa leading the line. Really like the Chargers going into this season.
Yeah, I was the Chargers too. I agree. Like they were brilliant last year. They just didn't have any consistency really. They looked like a team that could get beat any given day, and I think that kind of experience really stands to a team for a year. But like they have the team, they have the offense, they have the defense, they have the wide receivers, they have a class running back. The Chiefs are after losing their wide receiver core. So like I know I keep messing with MVS, but like he's primed to be their starter now, and he will be their starter. And you just can't back on that. Like
Out of
Raiders.
interest, what was the order of this? The odds on this division, was it
I think the
Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos?
No, I think the Chiefs were favorites, weren't they?
I think the Chiefs are the favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, Chiefs favorites, then Chargers, then Broncos. But were the Broncos and the Chargers same price?
I can't remember now.
I think they might have been joint.
That division's horrible. Like it's so hard to pick. Like you
Yeah,
could easily see any of them winning that.
Yeah,
I know the Raiders are outside of that, but
Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders.
yeah,
the Broncos have a serious defense and a serious offense now.
and like realistically, you could see the Raiders throwing up a surprise. Like you could, like
Yeah,
they could
like
be.
you wouldn't put it out of the realms of possibility that they go on a run as well. Like
that division is horrible. Like that, everyone in that division is going to struggle to like finish with 12 wins. Like that's going to be a tough division. Like,
and they play the NFC West this year as well. So even their out of division games are going to be tough games as well. Like there's no one in the NFC. Well, the Seahawks, but no one else in the NFC West is really a pushover at this stage.
No.
Yeah, it's true.
It'll be all dependent when you meet the Cardinals as well. I think Cardinals.
Yeah. If Kyler's dead.
Cardinals earlier in the season might get Eagles and Cardinals later in the season.
Yeah. Once the Cardinals have been figured out, because everyone knows what Cliff's playbook is 2 games in. What's the next division, Shane?
The NFC East. I'll let Jamie tell us why he picked his pick.
Mine aren't in order of yours, so I have to go back and remind myself where I went. And and to be honest, this was a punt. Like, there's always someone who throws up a bit of a surprise, right? If I was to go with my gut, I would have been, as Shane's going to say, Cowboys. 100% Cowboys. But I said I'd go right field, because this is what happens when you're gambling. You need to have someone who's going to cause a bit of a shock. So I went with the Eagles. I thought the Eagles were the second best team in that division. I don't want to say decent quarterback, to be quite honest. That's not true. But they have a handy team. A good wide receiver, Devonta Smith. He looked good last year. If they can get the ball to him, like there's no running backs. But like, to be fair, you're in a poor division. If someone can put a couple of wins together there, they're probably going to top it. You're kind of hoping for who's going to be the less bad. And I think that's kind of, I can't even say it in good English because that's how bad that division is.
Oh, well, I went Cowboys for the simple fact we are looking on paper, we are the best team in the division at the minute. Washington has Wentz, that's them out straight away. New York, Danny Dimes, man can't run straight, never mind fucking throw the ball anywhere decent. And the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, again, potential there, with Hurts, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere near good enough. They have dangerous wide receivers, but outside of that, everyone is either old or not as good as what they thought they'd be. I don't see the Eagles doing that. Cowboys should have a decent defense again this year. They have Dak, definitely the best QB in the division. CD, probably the best wide receiver in the division. Probably the best running back core in the division. If they don't win it, there's something wrong. But the NFC East has a curse that nobody can win it 2 years running. So at the end of the year, they'll probably be the one to leave me down in this bet. Oh,
Yeah,
my beloved
like
Cowboys.
even in the betting there, like it's tight. You know, like Cowboys were 7-5, Eagles were 6. Well, they're 6-4 now. I actually got them at 9-5. So
I got
actually,
the Cowboys 5-4.
yeah, because I was looking at going, that's way too short. Because I knew I took them for a reason. I knew they were nearly 2-1. I said that's a decent enough price for a team that could potentially spring a shock. You know,
Like
you know,
it is a 2-horse race in that division. Like Washington and New York should not be anywhere near it. Like
no.
All of our US listeners are completely lost when you say 5-4 and 9-2.
Yeah, well, I'm
Oh.
lost when they go decimals, so you know.
Yeah.
Work it out,
Just-
lads.
just divide the second number by the first number, okay? You
I
get
can never,
your
I
decimal.
never understand the plus. Like when someone says, "Oh, they're plus 400," I'm like, "What does that mean? Like,
I
is that
don't know,
good? Is
like-
that bad? Or should I be putting money on that? Like, what does it mean?"
It's the outsider. I know. Minus is the favorite.
Oh, is that the way it works?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how do I do the maths to figure out how much money I win and lose?
You just
I-
put it
I-
into like a English version.
You put
Or-
it into a translator.
Yeah.
Basically, there is those out there.
Next division. Where are we going?
Oh, the North, the NFC North.
Don't spend long on this one.
Yeah,
Winter
look, I-
is coming.
I took the Vikings for the simple reason that they have better skill position players. Kirk Cousins, I think, will just manage the bus to the top of the division. They're going to go heavy pass because of who they have. Dalvin Cook is up there with the best running backs in the division, but Rodgers lost all of his pass catchers. I can't pick Green Bay. I couldn't do it, so I took
Sorry,
Minnesota.
I have to hop in there. When you said Cousins is going to manage the bus to the top of the division, I can just imagine like Kirk Cousins on like a school like bus tour, and he's just like in the middle of the aisle saying, "Sit down there, Cook. You over there, Dylan. Stop your shit. I'm watching you."
That man would not be able to manage anything. Stop. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Like, you know, I obviously went Packers. You know, I'm not going to back against the Packers, which kind of goes against my whole betting rule. I don't back my own teams, but I'm confident
never
the
works
Packers.
out.
Yeah, it never works out. But I'm still confident the Packers will see this out. You know, the Packers still have the strongest squad. The defense is going to be fantastic this year. Aaron Rodgers, obviously. Now, yeah, obviously, look, we're weak wide receivers, but you're hoping Lazard and that the rookies might be able to pick it up and pick it up sooner rather than later. But yeah, look, it might be a bit sketchy for the first few weeks, but you'd hope them to pick it up. But like, you got the likes of AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, like they should be enough to even beat out those three other teams, so at least get to the playoffs. You know, like, yeah, you're right for the Vikings. Solid wide receivers, but like to really trust Kirk Cousins that much to be consistent every single week? No, you don't. Like, you know, if they had a guy to throw to them consistently every week, yeah, they'd push the Packers on the way, but and now you're on top of the Lions and the Bears, to be honest.
NFC South, then is it?
Yeah, I went with the obvious one, the only one in that division, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think you were probably the same then, Jamie.
Shakar, yeah.
Like they're money on to win that division. Like I think they're actually the biggest favorites to win any division. They're 1-3 on to win the division, which
Yeah,
basically
okay.
means you put down one of your own money, or you put down 3 of your own money to win 1 from the bookies. Right? That's the easiest way to explain it for anyone who doesn't understand. And
Like
then
Jameis Winston's not really going to put up a challenge in that division. Like,
no, like there's nobody there. Like who are you relying on? Marcus Mariota for the Falcons to do something, and Cordell Patterson to run it, throw it, and catch it. Like, come
they're
on.
they're probably going to get the first draft pick. Like, let's call a spade a spade.
Well, someone in that division probably will.
And that brings us nicely to the NFC West. Then
Easy retaining or the champs going to take it all again. I think the Rams somehow have managed to find all this cap space and sign everyone again. And woohoo, it's so good for the league. Fucking Rams, but yeah, the Rams.
How do you think I feel like?
I don't resent them at all.
What you call it? I could see Shanahan being sneaky this year and maybe like the 49ers just always seem to be competitive with Shanahan, so you never know, they might sneak it. I don't think the Cardinals will be able to do it with Cliff Kingsbury, and it's like let's call a spade with Seahawks. Like that's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you could not take the Rams here. They were 13-10, which I don't really know how to describe in decimals. Which is like what a price. You know, for the
They're
reigning
insane.
champions, like that's an insane price. Joe, you nearly throw 100 quid that yourself. I wouldn't, because that's just insane. You could.
I-
You nearly would.
You nearly would.
I'm poor. I wouldn't.
If someone gave me 100 quid, I might
Oh.
put it on it, but I'm gonna do it myself. But yeah, like you got 49ers, like the 49ers like favorites. I'd put the Cardinals there, to be honest. But even that, they're probably just kind of playing for places there, really, aren't they?
I'm not backing Trey Lance. If Trey Lance starts the season, I am
No.
not backing Trey Lance to take that team to the top of the division, and I'm not backing him to take anyone anywhere in a playoff game. Like,
Oh, I'm taking him
You
for my
couldn't-
fantasy teams.
there's no way
This is
That-
where you lose, then.
they had like if Trey Lance was as good as what everyone is saying, if he is that good, like why was Jimmy Garoppolo playing late in the season last year? Why did they give Jimmy all of the playoffs? If Trey was better, why
Didn't
not
Pat
play Trey?
Mahomes hit the first season?
Yeah, but
Because
like,
Pat Mahomes sat the first season, he came out on fire the second season.
yeah, but it is a bit different. Like you're going from
That's a bit
Alex
different.
Smith, who is a consistent thrower of the ball. He's a dunk it down, like short pass kind of guy, but he was consistent. He wasn't losing you games. Jimmy G can throw away a game in a heartbeat. We've seen him do it so many times. If Trey Lance was your guy going into this year, and he was as good
They
as
got-
what everyone was
They got
saying,
the NFC title game.
and what did he do? Threw the game away. Right, I've been Jimmy G's biggest fucking guy out here saying that he should not be traded for what he's done for the 49ers, but I still wouldn't want him as a Dallas Cowboy if he was on my team. I'd be saying trade that bastard away. I don't want him.
All right, let's get into our sleeper picks then, because we're going to stay here and argue Trey Lance the whole way.
One thing. What was
Go for it.
the payout on yours, Jamie? Mine for a tenner
Oh.
stake pays out €8,199.
Oh yeah, I was a little bit shorter. And at the time I put a 5 on it, but it was 1,524.
So
Okay.
you kind of went for the more outlandish picks then, Shane.
Yeah, well, I think the Vikings pushed mine up, and
The Vikings would have, yeah.
that's it. The Vikings are the only ones that push mine really out there, but they were 11-4. That's not overly
Yeah, but
bad.
if he picked the favorite and the favorites were basically even, then that would explain why your stake
Yeah.
is almost triple his. Like,
Right,
Hey, if
good
I
way
got
to-
1,500 quid, I'd.
it's not to be sniffed at.
fair.
All right, who wants to kick off on sleepers then?
Why don't you go for it, Dan? Me and Jamie have been chatting shite through the bets. You may as well kick it off, dude.
I'll give your voices a nice rest so we can get the dulcet tones back. Um, mine's pretty straightforward. I'm going to take Chase Edmonds in the 7th or 8th round of every draft, because to get a running back in the 7th or 8th round that has the potential to be a starter on a good offense, I know Tua might not have a good offense, but still 7th or 8th round, guys. What running back can you get in the 7th or 8th round anymore? Like, you're looking at Ramondre Stevenson, who will probably be in a timeshare with the other Patriots backs. So if I can have Chase Edmonds, the projected starter for the Dolphins, I'm taking that every day in the 7th or 8th. Like, he was a solid back for the Cardinals. Like, he can catch the ball. He can run the ball to the tackles. I wouldn't do that all the time, but he can run the ball to the tackles if needed. He's electric when he has the ball. And you're putting him in as one of the highest paid running backs in the league in Miami. Like, who's going to take his job? Mostert? This is also the San Francisco running game now. We've got Mike McDaniel, or how we want to say his name, as is going to install that running system that Kyle Shanahan has. So I think the running back for the Dolphins is a great piece to have this year. And I'm almost certain that it's going to be Chase Edmonds. And I think he can hold up. And I think you're going to get a great value pick in the 7th or the 8th.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's a great pick. Big fan of Edmonds, always was. I picked him up as last year as well, and he didn't play as much, obviously. But like every time he went to play, he was just explosive. Anytime he got a chance, I remember there was there 2 or 3 seasons of last year. He was the running back one there for a while, and he was just everyone wanted him. He was like picking up 20, 30 points a week. Like, if he's the main running back there in Miami, he's one explosive. How much say it was 7th round, was it? Like,
yeah, he's in the 7th or 8th round at the minute, and that could start climbing. Like, this is going to be a big weekend for drafts, so his ADP could move a lot. But like, he did get injured last year as well. He was sharing with James Conner, and he was still hitting consistently 12 points a week in half PPR. So if you make him the main back in a system, like, surely he's scoring you 15 points a week. I know it's a different team, but if he's the main back for like a Shanahan running system in Miami, I can't see the issue. Like, and they went out and got him. They went out and paid for him. Like, they're not messing around. It's not as if, like, they gave him like a $3 million contract. They paid the man, so they obviously want him. They obviously want to use him.
Yeah, my only fear with him is actually Mostert. I know you said Mostert won't take, but Mostert like 2 years ago had exceptional numbers. Like, and the fact that it is the San Francisco running game, like, they love to go like, oh, this is our number one back. Next week, it's the 3rd string running back who's the number one guy. That's the way
they're all injured.
Yeah, it's just it's a carousel of running backs with them. Like, they have a system that just seems to work for a certain type of guy. Mostert was one of them guys. Yeah, Mostert was one of them guys. And like, I don't know. I don't think he'll be the number one guy going into week 1. But I think if the season starts progressing along, Chase Edmonds, I think that'll be a committee thing as well. I don't think that'll be as straightforward. But Chase Edmonds, for the minute, the ADP he's at, the position he likely holds, the fact they paid him, for me, that's one of the best sleeper guys out there at the minute. He could just hit and be an RB1 from the 7th round. Like, he's got that potential. It's just Mostert is the biggest worry you actually have to worry about. A guy who's been in the system, a guy who could come in and, if stays healthy, take more snaps away from than what you want. Like, I don't think he'll take over, but I think there will be a share.
I'd be happy with RB2, to be honest. You're saying RB1 there, like, I'd be ecstatic with that. But like, if I can get an RB2 back for a 7th round pick, I'm happy. Like, because what else are you getting in the 7th round? You're not going to be getting a running back in the 7th.
I think that's even undervalued. Like, it undervalued an RB2. I think, just for the simple fact that San Francisco style of play there's a lot of play action in it. There's a lot of trick plays in it. There's a lot of selling the run, and to sell the run, they're going to have to run it down people's throat early in the season. I think Chase Edmonds could be an absolute rocket in the first 3 weeks. I think Mostert as well. I think Mostert might be a bad pickup either. I think he could be another one who you see. He won't pick up the 20-point games, but he might pick up 8-9 points. He might be a handy flex, like, if you're looking for a late pickup flex, like, someone that you can have on your bench.
One of your later picks. Let me get his ADP. Well, you go into your sleeper there, Shane, and I'll go find Mostert's ADP as well. We can see where you might get him.
Well, I didn't go overly dramatic on mine. Now, I went for a guy who I think has the potential to be up there, top 5 wide receivers at the end of the year, and his ADP is in the 4th round. And that's, for me, is Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams this year, if you look at him from last year, he had a target share of just over 21%, which was a career high for him. Keenan Allen is now another year older. Herbert seems to have a really good connection with both of them. But for me, I think Mike Williams is slowly going to start taking over as that wide receiver 1. With that explosive offense that they have, I think he's easily a 2nd round pick. And I think by the end of the year, like, if you look at his numbers from last year, which I have here, he had over 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. I think that's his yardage is definitely going to go up. I think, and I think his touchdowns are going to go up as well. If he finishes with 11,000 yards and about between 12 and 14 touchdowns, you're looking at a wide receiver 5+ out of him, and you're getting him in the 4th round. Like, for me, that's serious value. That's why I picked him as my sleeper. I just think he's so undervalued at his current ADP, and the reason he's undervalued is Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is getting older. He's not. I don't think he's going to keep up the same rate of production. And I think
Just
Mike
for,
Williams,
Just for your Mostert background, middle of the 12th.
like, that's again serious value there. I don't think he's going to take Edmonds' job, but I do think he'd be like the Chubb Hunt situation in Cleveland from the last couple of seasons.
He's basically free. He's going around the same range as DJ Chark, Khalil Herbert, JD McKissick. You know,
he could
kickers.
be like, if things go wrong for Edmonds in the next week or so, if he picks up an injury or something, and people already have their leagues drafted out, this guy could be the number 1 guy off the waiver wire come week 1, or he could be the top free agent picked up if you don't have everyone already on waivers. You
take him with your last pick and just stash him.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, that's if you play defensive kickers and you have 2 of them out of the way, and your last pick you want a chance Mostert and say, like, look, I'll have him. We'll see what happens. I think that's a great idea. Seems like a decent guy to pick up to me. But getting back to Mike Williams, I just feel he's so undervalued in the 4th round. He should be higher. He's not higher because of Keenan Allen. That offense is going to be, I think that's potential of being number 1 offense next year. I really like the Chargers, and I think Big Mike Williams there is going to be a tough wide receiver to break this year. I think he's just going to be a guy who gets a lot of targets, a lot of ball, and if he can just put a few more of them into the end zone, like his stats from last season, 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. Like, he ups the touchdowns. If he ups the yards by 100 or so yards, ups the touchdowns by 3 or 4 touchdowns. That's a guy who was in the top 5 last year. Like, that's stats from a top 5 guy now. Sorry?
Yeah.
I've been targeting him in most drafts. He is a great pick in the 4th round. I think you're 100% right. The only thing I'm afraid of is, the way he throws himself in the air and just doesn't care what he lands on when he comes down. Yeah. That's the only thing I'm afraid of.
Well, like, as you said there, is the Keenan Allen factor. That is the problem. And this is a guy talking from experience that had to put up with this last year, who had both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and you just don't know when to play him. You just, like, one time you played Mike Williams, I didn't. The time he was class last year, and then I put it in Keenan Allen again, and it's a toss-up. It's disastrous. It's not what you really want in fantasy football at the same time. I have Keenan Allen.
You're always going to pick the wrong one as well. You're never going to pick the right one.
You're never going to pick the right one. Like, Keenan Allen is one of my, potentially one of my keepers for our league this year, and I just said no, I can't do it, and it's the only reason I'm kind of holding on to Aaron Jones. Well, I would have probably given him away otherwise, but you just cannot trust him, and it's not something that I want to ever go back and deal with again, because it's just traumatic, to be quite honest about it. And like I know you're saying you put up a lot of yardage, but a lot of those yardage were in like a couple of games. It's not consistent, and in fantasy football you just need consistency. But I do like Mike Williams. I think he's a fan. If he is getting the wide receiver 1 production, he's going to be class. It's just that Keenan Allen factor that will put me off it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you watching EastEnders in the background or something?
No, dude. Sky Sports News is on. That's on the sitting room. I'm out in the kitchen, man. I didn't think you'd be able to hear that. I can't even hear it.
Big headphones on.
Yeah.
Jamie, give us your sleeper.
Should I go into it, right? So my guy, right, is such a sleeper. He's probably asleep, to be quite honest about it. I said I would go through the realms of players, and you got your normal ones like Darnell Mooney, people like, and I said, let's see what we got, right? So I went completely right field. I went to the Vikings, right? After we talking about the Vikings earlier, yes, I know I don't like Kirk Cousins, but This is a guy who can give you good wide receiver 2 value and is going undrafted this year. So I will KJ Osborne, right? So KJ, wide receiver 3 value at the moment, right? But he's going to be targeting with Adam Thielen at the moment. Last year, he finished a wide receiver 38. He didn't play much, but he's a solid line, right? He had, sorry, let me just get up so I know right. He had more touchdowns last year than Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, and CD Lamb. Thielen now, right? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he had 7 touchdowns last year. He had no touches the year before. Last year, he had 50 catches on 82 targets, 655 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He is a guy that has unlimited untapped potential if he can beat Thielen to the wide receiver 2 job. Now, obviously, he's never going to be wide receiver 1. That's just never going to happen. But he's a guy that is going to go undrafted in probably every draft you look at, and is a guy you can just stash at your very last pick. When you're going picking rookies and guys you don't give a shit about, pick this guy up. Set him on your bench. Does nothing. Draft him after a few weeks. But there's a potential there.
Did someone get injured for the Vikings around week 13? Because his snap percentage went up massively in week 13.
Yeah, Thielen went out.
Oh, did he? Okay.
So that's kind of my point. Thielen, if he can beat Thielen to the wide receiver 2 job, then he gets that kind of value back in him. Now, if he doesn't, he's going to be pure shite. But yeah.
He scored 5 touchdowns in the last 6 games. So, and that's when his snap percentage went up. So if he's on the field, he looks like he's going to score.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think you might be onto something there, especially when Thielen, the reports of Thielen in camp have been good, but never trust beat reporters with anything. I think you might be onto something and this is a last pick of the draft sort of player. You can pick this guy up, and if you don't see it week 1, you can cut him and go and get a different player you like.
Yeah, he's not going to be drafted. Really, no one's putting a draft pick on this guy. So just pick him up in the last. Just pick him in the last. Stash him away. See what happens.
Even if he doesn't beat Thielen to the wide receiver 2 position, like the new head coach for Minnesota, his Kevin O'Connell. Yeah, I've seen him do interviews and say this is going to be pass happy offense. He's already said they're going to do a lot of wide receiver, a lot of 3 wide sets. So even if he's the wide receiver 3, he can play it. We've seen it last year when he played. He could play inside the numbers. He can play outside the numbers. He's got good speed. He's even as a wide receiver 3, he would be nearly worth picking up, as Jamie said, as the last pick and leaving him there. He was the guy we chatted about last week. Remember, I couldn't remember his name last week on the podcast. He was that guy. And
I call him the Green Goblin.
Yeah, Jamie's hit the nail on the head with him here. He really has. He's another one that so late in the draft you can pick up. And if he does manage to beat Thielen out, and we see him coming out in week 1, and he's the wide receiver 2, his numbers are going to be great.
Was he last year his second year, or was he a rookie last year?
That's a good question.
Second year.
2020 he was drafted, so yeah, that was his third. It was his second year last year, third year this year.
Second year.
It's not bad.
No, he's all right, man.
He didn't play at all really in his first season. Was he injured maybe in his first season? I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Just looking at him here, he had 133.5 points at the end of last year with 50 receptions, 655 yards, 7 touchdowns, as Jamie said. And he had 1 rushing attempt for 10 yards.
He was wide receiver 38. And he didn't play a lot. So that's impressive.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a deep sleeper right there. I have to give you that. You really took the sleeper assignment seriously, Jamie.
Well, you give me an assignment, I get it right. Well, maybe not. We'll come back in a couple of weeks. Jerry Cage Osborne, no.
A bit of Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is that guy?
Dropped off the Vikings.
We dropped the bomb last week and said we had a couple of trades held over that were strange. So we're going to talk about it now. This is in Superflex format. The first one wasn't really anything too outlandish. It was J.K. Dobbins and a 2023 second for Saquon Barkley and a 2023 third. So, like, to me, it's not massively shocking. Either you anything to add there?
No, that's fair enough.
No, just
Yeah.
good luck with Barkley. He's slight respect. Dude might be there after week 2 or 3.
This was the one where we were a bit eyebrow raising. So it was, and I have thick eyebrows. It was Ritter, the quarterback that the Atlanta Falcons drafted. Is he a 3rd round pick? I can't even remember this year, but he was. Anyway,
Yeah, along those
Ritter,
lines. Anyway.
And a 2023 first for Nick Chubb and a 2023 second. Like that's crazy.
So Type Light got Chubb and a 2nd round pick from.
No. Type Light got Ritter and a 1st round pick. And then Punzinator got Chubb and the 2020. No, sorry, I'm reading that backwards.
Yeah. You're reading that backwards.
I am reading it backwards. Sorry, yeah, you're right. So Type Light got Chubb and a 2023 second for Ritter and a 2023 first.
All right. So Punzinator, send us your team, because if you don't have another running back anywhere near the quality of Nick Chubb, you've won the barrel. You've been bent over the barrel. This was the bent over the barrel pick. Yeah, you're so far over the barrel. We might have to add another barrel.
Stop promising people barrels and sending people things. We don't have
advertising.
It's just an
award. Not sending people barrels. It's going to be expensive.
We don't make any money from this.
They're not. We can't make shitty barrels. They have to be like oak cask barrels.
Oak cask barrels.
Yeah, like quality.
Yeah.
Forged with iron. Move on to another trade we have there. So we have Devontae Parker for a 2023 2nd round pick, and that was in League 10-10. Yeah, it's like Devontae Parker has upside. It's like you don't really know what's going to happen in New England at the minute with those wide receivers, because let's face it, Nelson Aguilar is not fucking catching any fucking balls, is he?
Not even if he's on the field, and he's the only one on the field.
You might accidentally catch it. You know.
I'll still never get over the guy from Philadelphia who caught a baby that got thrown out of a burning building, and the news guys are interviewing after him. Is like, so you caught the baby that they threw out the window? I was like, yeah, we be out here catching babies, not like Nelson Aguilar. Have you not seen that?
I've never seen that.
No, I've never seen that.
No.
Oh, I have to get you that. I have to get that video. I'll send it to you afterwards. All right. The next trade is Raheem Mostert and Rashad Bateman for Damon Pierce. What?
Yeah.
People seem very big on Pierce.
Yeah.
It's all preseason hype, and I just do not like trading on preseason hype. You can't go by it. That's an
Bateman's
awful lot.
way more valuable than Pierce, surely. Like, Pierce plays on the fucking Texans.
Sorry, what to say about that, though.
But they look. I do look. It's just this trade for me is a thing of nothing again. Like, they both have their upsides. Pierce could be the only thing good about the Texans next year. But it's all right.
Well, he will be the only good thing about the Texans. Let's call a spade here.
Well, we don't know. Brandon Cooks might be able to throw it to himself.
I would pay to see that. Brandon Cooks drops back, throws to Brandon Cooks. Touchdown, Cooks.
I do think it's a lot to give up for Pierce. So like we were just talking about Mostert. Now he could be, himself and Edmonds could get a nice committee there, and if he does, he was nearly one of our sleepers when we kind of thought about it. And people are very high in Bateman. They really are. I don't see it, to be honest. I wouldn't draft Bateman, but people seem very high in him, and when people are very high in him, then people are going to pay a lot for him.
Lads, it's another crazy one here. Like, why is everyone so high on Damon Pierce? Damon Pierce for Antonio Gibson in a 2023 first. What's going on, like?
That's even worse. what's the first about? Like, you could give it straight up, and you'd be like,
I know
yeah,
everyone's worried about Gibson because he's fumbling and he's with special teams and all this random stuff coming out of camp. But come on, Damon Pierce, like like everyone's hot and bothered over Damon Pierce. It's the Texans. It's the Texans
Yeah.
running back. You don't want a running back on a bad team.
oh no, what's he going to do? He has no protection. Like, he has nothing. He's just going to run into a wall. Stop drafting people on pre-season form. It's not a good idea. It's just don't do it. Like,
I remember Callaway for the Saints last year.
He was
like
insane,
the darling of preseason.
I drafted him. Yeah,
And you learned your lesson.
I learned my lesson very quick after that.
Shane, you're very quiet over there on this one.
Sorry, buddy.
Antonio Gibson and a first for Damon Pierce.
Yeah, look, that's a lot of preseason hype, isn't it? As Jamie said, it's tough to throw away a first rounder on Damon Pierce already, isn't it? It's a bit early in the day to be doing that. You could see that maybe after a couple of weeks, if he's performing well, if he's doing okay, you get him for a first round. Antonio Gibson. Look, I think Antonio Gibson might be the only good thing about the Washington offense this year. I don't think Wentz is going to be good enough to carry him anywhere, and I don't think McLaurin, because of Wentz, is going to have the production. People are still backing McLaurin, but yet they're not backing Gibson. I think they're going to have to go to that run game a whole lot more if they want Wentz to be even anyway good. So I think Gibson has high upside this year.
They drafted that third round running back. What's his name? Robinson, is that his name?
He's not going to. I don't think he'll replace Gibson as the number one guy. I think it'll be a committee job again. But it's just to take the pressure off of Gibson a bit more. I still think Gibson has upside to him. Damon Pierce, he realistically doesn't have a great line to even run behind. So you're banking on a lot. You're banking on Houston just getting a bit better, and Damon Pierce been one of the best running backs in the league in this year and the coming years. I don't see it.
Yeah, you just gotta stay away from that hype. It's the same with Pierce, Robinson, and what's the Kansas Chiefs guy? Pacheco. That's it, Pacheco.
I probably will take Pacheco in the last round of redraft because he's got such a cool name.
Pacheco. Like, fair enough. Like, he might be a good. Yeah, take him in a draft. Take him in the last round of the draft or something. Like, you're not giving up this kind of value for those guys.
Well, Damon Pierce is actually in the 8th round of redraft at the minute.
Really?
Yeah, he's going way too high for my liking at the minute. He's like,
it's
if he was
Texans, lads.
If he was
Chase Edmonds or Damon Pierce, like it's no brainer. Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, I think if he was 10th round or lower, I might take a shot on him, but he's too high for my liking at the minute. Now, look, hey, I hope we're all wrong because Houston needs something to go right for. They really do. That poor fan base, like, they'll be the Jets if they're not careful. The Jets mightn't even got it right. It looks like they might have in the draft, but they might not have.
Yeah, it would be the most Jets thing ever for this to all go wrong. The next trade we had was Darnell Mooney, a 2023 second and another 2023 second for AJ Brown. I don't hate it for Dynasty. Like, it's a lot to pay for AJ Brown, but I suppose 2 seconds and Darnell Mooney. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's kind of even.
I'd land on the side of Mooney a bit more than AJ Brown. I don't know. It's just the whole Hurts thing with me, and like.
Have you met Justin Fields?
Yeah, but like Fields doesn't really have anyone else to throw to at the minute, so you could see Darnell Mooney getting like just super aggressively fed the ball, so he will make some catches. It's just AJ Brown is competing now with the what's the guy that drafted last year, number
Devonta
one.
Smith.
Yeah, that's him. He's going competing with Smith for targets now, and Smith struggled for targets with Hurts as his QB. He takes off too much. He gets out of the pocket too much for me. I don't like taking wide receivers on running quarterbacks teams unless it's Kyler Murray, just because Kyler seems to have perfected the balance this early in his career. Whether he'll keep that, I don't know.
I
But
think the Cardinals realize they can't run him the whole time because he'll get hit and get injured.
yeah, it's like it's just Hurts for me is going to be a guy who runs too much. He's going to be another kind of Lamar Jackson type.
The next one's a very interesting trade. It includes a few of our highlighted players in the last couple of weeks. So Chase Edmonds, a 2023 first and a 2024 third for AJ Dillon and a 2023 second. Where do we fall? So Chase Edmonds, a 2023 first, a 2024 third for AJ Dillon and a 2023 second round pick. I think I want Edmonds in the first.
That's a tight one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a tight one.
I think as of now, right now, I think I would agree. I would take Edmonds in the first and the third. But I think when we get into the season, man, I think you'd prefer to have Dillon. I think Dillon is he's going to have that year. I just like at the minute, if you're looking at ADP, you're looking at everything else.
How many years left on Dillon's contract? Do you have a year left?
This is his second year, is all.
It's only his second year, yeah.
Yeah,
He was only a rookie last year.
He's only a rookie last year.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been there for a couple of years. So he's locked into Green Bay for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So this year and 2 more years after.
Oh no, sorry, hang on. You might be right actually, because I think I had Dillon year one, and you had him last year, Jamie. Did you?
So this might be his third year.
No, I didn't have him last year.
Or maybe last year is the year I'm thinking of. Then he might have been a rookie.
I had him last
maybe
year.
it's two.
Yeah.
The waivers last year at one stage. Look up. We have the technology for this. We can figure out when it is.
Look, I would take this very moment. I would take a first round pick. If a first round pick is on the table alone for AJ Dillon, I'm probably taking the first round pick and the third round pick. I'll take the 2 picks for Dillon already. Probably.
It's so this is he's going into his third year, so he'll have this year and then next year at Green Bay, and then he's a free agent after that. And then how long does Aaron Jones have? Aaron Jones signed 4 years last year, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's going to be around a while.
Jones will be
dynasty.
I think Jones will be pushed out. I think they're not going to let Dillon walk.
No, I think Dillon has the pure raw talent of a running back.
Well,
Jones.
age profile as well. If they both expire at the same time, then Dillon will be kept on. Jones will be told to walk.
Yeah, I reckon that's the route Green Bay go.
Jones is a better all-round player, as in pass catcher, running back. He can do the whole combo. But AJ Dillon, he's just so explosive.
He's a wrecking machine.
He's a wrecking machine.
But
there's a quads in the man.
As I pointed out last week, AJ Dillon caught just as many balls last year as Dalvin Cook, who would be seen as a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. So Dillon can do those things too. I wouldn't be putting Dillon down. It's just at the minute that the value you're looking at there, Chase Edmonds, which Dan already spoke on earlier, the first round pick, a third round pick. I think it's a nice trade, but I don't think you're necessarily, if you give that up, you're not getting a bad player in AJ Dillon. I think AJ Dillon has a really good future in the league. So I like the trade. Just at the minute, going into this season, I would take Edmonds the first and the third. It gives me a decent running back with high value, high upside, and it gives me good picks for the following year.
It is a great trade, in fairness. You can see
it
the
is
benefits of both sides.
Yeah. Really nice trade.
Mike Williams, a 2023 second and another 2023 second for Stephon Diggs. So Mike Williams and 2 second-round picks for Stephon Diggs. I can see the value in this as well. If someone doesn't want to roll the dice with Mike Williams, they've gone and they've turned it into Stephon Diggs with 2 second-round picks. Josh Allen's main target. I think I'd be a gambler though, and I'd like to have Williams in the picks.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, but again, you go back to the uncertainty of Williams and Allen, who's going to get it, and you're praying and hoping that Williams will be that number one guy this year, but I suppose he did get the contract this year, didn't he? He got paid.
Yeah, he got 4 years, didn't he?
Yeah, so like, you
It's. I think it's. I think it's just a bit of a. It's a bit of a like a gambler would prefer the Mike Williams side of it. I think just for the upside shot, but the Stephon Diggs is like what you're getting. You're getting a wide receiver one for the next 2 to 3 years, really.
Yeah.
My thing with Stephon Diggs this year is that the Bills never replaced any of the free agent guys that went. So Cole Beasley walked out the door, Sanders walked out the door, and now they're relying on Davis to be their number 2 guy. I like Gabriel Davis. I think he's a solid player, but I don't know, is he going to be enough on his own to take the double coverage off of Stephon Diggs for a lot of plays? And they have no real semblance of a running game, so you can blanket the field with the Bills this year. That's their only real downside. So I think the LA offense.
So you guys are backing the Bills to win, and I have everyone else. So
hey, I never said I was backing the Bills to win. Right? That was Jamie. Right? Don't be putting me in that category.
Don't give away next week's show.
The Chargers for me are going to have. I really believe they'll be the number 1 offense by the end of the season. So I love Mike Williams. I love the upside up in this year. I think the reason I love him so much is the contract they gave him. I think he is going to be used a lot. And Keenan Allen getting a year older, man. I think that 50-50 split starts going 60-40, 70-30. I think we're going to see that this year. So just for the fact that Stephon Diggs is alone in that team at the minute until the season starts and I see how good Davis is, I think Mike Williams with a couple of picks is the better side of it, but not by much. It's a very, very even trade again. It's like 60-40 for me there. Like that, you're clutching at straws to pull a difference out of it.
Yeah, it's fair. Like if you were on either side of the trade, you'd be happy enough. Like you've obviously got what you wanted.
I had my fun.
I had my
fun. That'll bring us nicely to the end of the show. I think that was a nice run. We kept it under an hour today, so thanks for listening, folks. Anyone who stayed. So I'll leave it to the 2 boys to say goodbye.
We'll see you again, lads, next week. Tune in to find out who we think wins the Super Bowl.
Don't say God bless, Jamie.
Spoiler alert. Good luck, lads. We'll talk to you next week.
Toodles.